Hi, welcome back to the Crysalli service and installation videos. In today's video, we're going to show how to change the water regulator that is in the chiller. All right, so what I've done is I've removed this remote chiller. I've pulled it out from underneath the cabinet for ease of service. And in this video, what we're going to be changing is this water regulating device. What we have found, and we've made changes on the current production units, but what we have found is that this plastic body water regulator is actually more robust and reliable in this water bath environment. All right, so the components we're going to need in order to make this change is obviously the water regulator. I've got a pair of Oetiker crimpers, some tube cutters, I've got some Oetiker clamps, as well as the 1/4 inch braided tubing. All right, before we start the removal of the water regulator, we want to go ahead and shut the water pressure off, or shut the water off to the chiller, and then we need to bleed the water pressure. So we're just going to go to the chilled still valve and open that, and you'll see we're just dropping the pressure in the system. No need to pull the sparkling water. That side's still pressurized with the water in the carbonator tank. We're only working on the still chilled side. All right, so now I'm going to remove this old brass water regulator. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a pair of cutters and I'm going to snip the line on the outlet, and then I'm going to get a pair of Oetikers and I'm going to cut this Oetiker on the T here. So I just grab it, pulled it off. All right, so I've cut this tubing off, I've removed this water regulator completely, and now we're gonna install the new one. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is cut a short piece of 1/4 inch tubing. That's gonna make the connection from the T fitting, the stainless steel T, to the inlet of this regulator, and then we're gonna make the connection from the elbow fitting that goes over to the bulkhead, or it'll go to the faucets if it was a countertop system. All right, so I've put a little piece of, it's a couple inches of the 1/4 inch braided tubing on the inlet side of the regulator. I'm gonna slide a couple Oetikers. Make sure you do this before we go any further. Then we're gonna insert this over the T. So slide it in, and then I'm gonna take another Oetiker. These are 10.5 Oetikers. And then I'm gonna slide this and just press this completely on. Slide your Oetiker, I like it to be kind of over the second barb. And then next we'll crimp them. All right, we've positioned the Oetikers in position over the second barb on the fittings, and now I'm going to take a pair of Oetiker crimpers and just engage it over, crimping it completely, and then repeat that on all 3 fittings. Now that we've got the water regulator installed, crimped, and in place, we're going to go ahead and turn on the water. So I'm just going to rotate this. You can see on the pressure gauge, we've got water pressure, and now we're going to go up to the system and prime it. So we've turned the water onto the system. Now I'm going to come up to the chilled still valve, and I'm going to open the valve. Notice the flow, it's pretty low flow. The reason for that is the water regulator hasn't been set. So next step, we're going to set the water regulator so we get a nice consistent flow here. All right, so now we're going to make adjustments to the flow. The first thing you're going to do, this knob, it locks in place, so you're going to have to pull it out. Once you set the flow, then you're going to push it back in. But pull the knob out and back this out all the way. One of the things you see, I put some yellow tape here. That's an indicator to know how many turns I've rotated it. You can use a silver marker or anything to give you some sort of an indicator on how many rotations you've done. So now that I've got it backed all the way out, I'm going to rotate it clockwise, roughly 3 turns. So that's 1, 2, 3. Next, I'm going to check my flow. All right, so open the valve, and that's a nice steady flow. I'm happy with that flow. If this system was a remote system, we may want to increase that. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. So some of these systems could be remotely. This is an under-counter system, but this system is designed to be able to be installed up to 35 feet. Some of our systems can be 45 or even 75 feet away from the dispense tower. So in those installations, you may need to go a little bit, set your pressure, your flow a little bit greater than the 3 turns. So in order to do that, just go ahead and rotate, continue rotating. That would be 4 turns and then 5 turns. I wouldn't go any more than 5 turns. It's very important that you don't allow too much pressure, because when the carbonator pump kicks on, it actually spikes the pressure to this regulator, which is why it is here. It's to prevent high pressures when the carbonator pump kicks on to hit the back of the valve. All right, so now that we've got the flow set to where we want, the next step is just engaging that knob so it doesn't rotate. If you have some electrical tape, something, if you wanted to wrap it around the threads so nobody can tamper with it. Now that we've set the flow, we'll put the lid on and get this unit back into place.